Hi students, welcome back to the online classes. So this is the third session of the chapter sound. So till now we have seen how the objects are able to produce the sound. How? Because of the vibrations creating in the objects will able to produce the sound. And how we have seen how the humans are able to produce the sound. How the humans are able to produce? Because of the voice box presented here. And we have already learnt about how the humans are able to collect and get the sound through our ears. So in this session we will learn about characteristics of sound. Characteristics of sound. So the first characteristic of sound is loudness and feebleness. Loudness and feebleness. So here loudness means with high volume. Loudness means high volume and feebleness means nothing but a low volume. So if you are whispering with your friend, if you are whispering means you are talking with your friend very slowly. You are saying some secret with your friend. How you will share your secret? You can whisper with your friends. So such whisperings will comes under feebleness. So let us understand about the loudness and feebleness of the sound. Let us understand about the loudness and feebleness of the sound. So on a table, place a saw blade. Between the surface of the table and brick, and place a brick here. So a brick was placed and a saw blade was placed here. So now apply some force on it. Pluck the saw blade with small force. Apply force. You are applying some force. So you are applying some small force. So you have applied small force. So what happens? The saw blade will start vibrating. So here you have to place a saw blade like this, and you have to apply a force. So if it is rigidly fixed to the table, then it starts vibrating like this. So if you apply small amount of force, so this is the saw blade, position of the saw blade. So it will make vibrations in up and down directions. So this is the mean position. This is vibrating. Mean means middle position. This is the mean position. Of the saw blade. So here it is making to and fro, up and down, to and fro motion. To and fro motion is nothing but vibrations. To and fro. So the maximum displacement of the blade is up to here. The maximum displacement of the saw blade was up to here. In downward direction was up to here. So we will call this maximum displacement as maximum distance covered. What is the maximum distance covered? It is amplitude. Maximum displacement of the blade. Maximum displacement from its mean position is called amplitude. If the blade is vibrating like this, the maximum position, this is the mean position and this is the maximum position. We will call this distance as amplitude. What is meant by amplitude? Amplitude is the maximum displacement from the mean position. Maximum displacement from mean position is called, maximum displacement from mean position is called amplitude. Maximum displacement from mean position is called amplitude. For example, you are playing in the ground with swing. You are playing with ground with swing. you are using swing. So here the swing will reaches here, and in this direction it will reaches up to here. So this displacement, what we call it as amplitude. Amplitude is the maximum displacement. So if you apply small amount of force to the saw blade, if you apply small amount of to this saw blade, so amplitude will be low. Amplitude will be low. If you apply large force, then amplitudes will be large. Place the blade here, and the amplitudes will be, you have applied a large force, then what happened? The amplitudes will be high amplitudes will be observed. So in the two cases, when you apply a small amount of force, the loudness will be low. And if you apply large amount of force, the high amount of sound will be observed. So what is your conclusion? Loudness depends upon the amplitude. If it is making larger vibrations, the scale is vibrating larger vibrations, making larger vibrations, then it will produce high sound, high volume sound. If it is making low sounds with low amplitudes, it will produce low sounds. So the loudness of the sound depends on amplitude. What is amplitude? Maximum displacement from its, this is the middle position of your swing, this is the maximum amplitude. So you will travel here also, but this is the maximum displacement. So in a to and fro motion, so this is the maximum distance that the scale is traveling. So this is the distance from the mean position up to here is called as amplitude. The maximum displacement from mean position is called as amplitude. So loudness of the sound depends on amplitude, and the sound loudness can be measured in decibels. The loudness of the sound is measured in decibels. Sound or intensity of sound is measured in decibels. So it is denoted with small d and capital B. So decibels. So if there is an absolute silence, very silence is there, the value of the silence, absolute silence, the total silence is equal to 0 decibels. And if any sound 10 times greater than the total silence, 10 times of powerful when the 10 times of total silence, 10 times powerful than the total silence, then it's then the intensity of sound is 10 decibels. If the sound is 100 times of powerful than total silence, 100 times powerful than total silence is equal to 10 decibels. If the sound which is 100 times powerful than the total silence is equal to 20 decibels. If the sound which is 1000 times powerful than total silence is 30 decibels. If 10,000 times powerful than the total silence, So in this way, if there are 4 zeros, 40 decibels of sound, 5 zeros are there, 50 decibels of sound. So like that, we will measure the sound. So if you whisper with your friend, whisper means you are making very low sound. So the sound of your whisper, is about 15 decibels. A normal conversation is about 60 decibels. A normal conversation is about 60 decibels. Lawn mower. So that is, it is used to cut the grass. So the sound coming from the lawn mower is 90 decibels. 90 decibels. Car horn is 110 decibels. 110 decibels. And jet engine is about 120 decibels. So this is very large sound. And the intensity of sound which is comfortable for us is 80 decibels. So 80 decibels is safe limit of sound to listen for humans. So you cannot if you hear the sounds which is greater than 80 decibels, then you can lose your hearing. For humans 80 decibel is the safe limit. If you hear greater than the 80 decibels, you may affect with the hearing loss. You can get some hearing loss. You will affect with hearing loss. So 80 decibels is the safe limit. And there is one more rule is also there, 60 by 60. So you may listen to the songs for 24 hours maybe. No, it is not safe for humans. Why? Because we have to follow this rule. If you are listening the sound at 60 decibels, it is better to listen for only 60 minutes. So if you do not remove your earphones after 60 minutes, what will happen? Slowly your sensitivity of hearing will lose. So your ear is not able to listen after that. So your safe limit is 80 decibels, and you have to follow this rule in order to avoid the hearing loss. So this is about loudness of sound. Loudness of sound. And our next one, first the characteristics we are learning about characteristics of sound. The first characteristics of sound is loudness and feebleness. And the second one is pitch, or we can also call this as shrillness. So in order to understand the concept of pitch or shrillness, let us discuss an activity. So again, in the previous one you have considered a table and a saw blade. So now consider two blades and keep one blade such that 10 centimeters of its length is in air. You have kept a blade such that only 10 centimeters of its length is in air, only 10 centimeters, and keep another blade such that its length of 20 centimeters or 30 centimeters of length is in air. So you have kept two blades. One is kept in such a way that 10 centimeters of the part is in the air, and another one is kept such a way that 30 centimeters of the scale is in the air. Here only 10 centimeters of the part is in the air, and place a brick on it. So now apply an equal force to the both scales. Apply equal force. So which one will make more vibrations? Which one will make more vibrations? The smaller one or the larger one? More. I didn't ask high amplitudes. The larger scale will make high amplitudes, but the smaller one will make more vibrations. So here the smaller one will make more vibrations when compared with the large vibrations. The number of vibrations made by the smaller scale will be large. Number of vibrations for a smaller part, small scale has more number of vibrations, and large scale has less number of vibrations. The vibrations made in 1 second by this 10 centimeters of scale is large. We will call this as frequency. What is frequency? Number of vibrations in 1 second. Is called as frequency. The smaller scale will have high frequency. That means, for example, smaller scale will make 80 vibrations per second. How many vibrations it will make in 1 second? In 1 second it will make 18 vibrations. We will call this as frequency. 80 vibrations, number of vibrations in 1 second is called as frequency. What I was given here? I was given frequency. What is the frequency of the scale? 80 vibrations per second. And large scale is making 20 vibrations per second. 20 vibrations per second. So, in 1 second, the smaller part of the scale is making 80 vibrations. In the same 1 second of time, this larger scale is making 20 vibrations. So, the sound created by the small scale will have high pitch. It will create high pitch sound. And this larger part of the scale will create sound which is having low pitch. So here the pitch of the sound depends on the frequency. The pitch of the sound depends on frequency. If the frequency is high, pitch of the sound is high. If the frequency is low, pitch of the sound is low. You know that the pitch of mosquito sound is greater than the lion roar. So the lion is roaring. So when compared with the pitch of the sound of lion roar, the mosquito will have high pitch. The sound made by the mosquito will have highest pitch, but its sound is very low. The sound created by the mosquito is low, loudness is low, but pitch is high. Low loudness, but high pitch. Here high loudness is high loudness, but low pitch. So what you have observed, or observe the voice of the men and women. So men loudness will be more. The loudness of the men's voice will be more, and pitch of the men is very low, whereas pitch for the women is high and loudness of women is low. So in this way, the pitch of the sound depends on frequency of the object. If the frequency is more, pitch will be high. If the frequency is low, pitch will be low. So what is the audible range? What is the audible range? So you are able to, the humans are producing sounds, the humans are producing sound. We will make different sounds. We will create differences in the loudness. We will vary the frequencies of the sound. We will change the frequencies of the sound, and we are able to communicate with each other. So why and how we are able to create the different sounds? How we are able to create the sounds? What are the characteristics of sounds? There are two characteristics. One is loudness and feebleness, and another one is pitch or shrillness. So here, how the humans are able to produce the sound with different frequencies? We will communicate each other. The humans will generate sound with different frequencies. So how? The animals cannot able to speak, whereas humans can. So what does that mean? We can generate different frequencies of sound. We can generate different frequencies, but animals cannot generate the different frequencies in the sound. We will vary the amplitude, we will change the frequency. So the main parts, the main organs which helps for creating different frequencies is voice box, which is presented at the portion of your neck. You can observe with your hand, you can experience the vibrations that occur at the voice box. So voice box, lips, throat and nose, and another one teeth and tongue. So these parts, we are having these parts. So these parts will help for the humans to produce different frequencies of sound, to communicate each other. So without the coordination of all these parts, you are not able to produce the variations. You are not able to bring some changes in the sound. We will increase the loudness, you can decrease the loudness, you can change the frequencies by the coordination of these all organs. So that's why these organs are called as parts of speech organs. Parts of speech organs. So because of the coordination of these parts, you are able to bring variations in the sound created by the voice box. Okay, and let us learn about audible range. So the sound is nothing but vibrations. So if you heard any sound, it will have some specific frequency. What is frequency? Number of vibrations per second. Number of vibrations per second is called frequency. So you may hear different frequencies. So what is the range of frequency that you can hear? So the sounds which is in the range, 20 vibrations per second to 20,000 vibrations per second. So this is the frequency of the sound. You can hear the sound which is in the range of 20 to 20,000 vibrations per second. So if the sound is having frequency 10 vibrations per second, you can't able to hear this sound. You are not able to hear this sound. If the sound is above the 20,000 vibrations per second, if the frequency of the sound is about 21,000, then you are not able to hear these sounds. You can able to hear only the sounds having frequencies in the range from 20 vibrations per second to 20,000 vibrations per second. So this range we will call as audible range, from 20 to 20,000. So this is what we call as audible range. So the sound which is having less than 20 vibrations per second, the frequency of sound which is having 20 vibrations per second are called as infrasonics. So these sounds can be heard by bats, dogs, rats, elephants. So these infrasonics, these particular animals can able to hear these infrasonic sounds, and the sounds which are having frequency greater than this 20,000 vibrations per second are called as ultrasonics. So these ultrasonics can be observed by dolphins. So dolphins are able to observe these ultrasonics. Dolphins are capable to receive these ultrasonics. They will produce the sound which are greater than the frequency of 20,000 vibrations per second. So this is the audible range, and less than that the sounds are called infrasonics, and greater than the 20,000 vibrations per second are called as infrasonics. So now let us learn about music and noise. What is music? What is noise? What is noise first of all? So the sound which is very unpleasant to hear, the sound which is unpleasant, we are not desired, we don't want to hear the noise. Unpleasant, these sounds are irritating, unpleasant to hear. Unpleasant to hear are called noise. And what is music? Sound which is pleasant to hear, which is sound which is pleasant to hear, is called music. So in the case of noise, different irregular frequency variations will be there. Frequency suddenly increases or loudness suddenly decreases. The characteristics of the sound in the case of noise will suddenly increase and suddenly decrease. So there are very irregular arrangement of frequencies, irregular increases and decreases loudness of frequencies will be observed in the case of noise. Whereas in the music, a pleasant increase of frequency, slowly the frequency will decrease, a particular order will be there. If the frequency of the sound in the music is increasing, it doesn't increases abruptly, it will increase slowly and decrease slowly. Some regular arrangement will be there, regular frequency arrangement will be observed. In the case of regular frequency arrangement will be there in the case of music, that's why it is very pleasant to hear. Whereas in the case of noise, irregular, suddenly the loudness may be increases, suddenly the frequency increases and decreases, and abrupt changes will be observed. Abrupt changes will be observed. Abrupt changes will be observed in characteristics of sound. In the case of music, we cannot observe the sudden changes. Abrupt means sudden. So a slow changes, a slow increase in orderly arranged manner. So this frequency, the characteristics of the sound in the case of music is orderly arranged. So this noise will create. So you will, in our daily life we will hear this noise a lot by the horns of the vehicles or the sound made by the machineries from the factories. This noise will create a unpleasant atmosphere for us. We will call that disturbance as sound pollution. Sound pollution. So this is the one of the pollution that humans are affecting with this. What is sound pollution? So a noise, if the atmosphere environment is completely filled with noise, then we will say there exists a sound pollution. What are the negatives of the sound pollution? The humans may get irritations for that. They will not see properly with the sound pollution, and sometimes there will be increase in the blood pressures also. So the sound pollution will have very greater effect on the life of humans. So we need to decrease the sound pollution. How? What are the measures you have to take in order to decrease the sound pollution? You need to plant some trees. By planting some trees, the vibrations of the sound will be absorbed by the trees and reduces the loudness, or you has to give a silencer, you has to place a silencer for the vehicles. So you has to design the vehicles, you has to design the machineries which creates low sound. Why? Because we need to avoid the sound pollution to have a better life on earth. So with this complete the chapter sound was completed. Thank you.